Hello and welcome to Zoom with Czarny. I'm Dustin Czarny, Democratic Elections Commissioner of Onondaga County, and welcome to my interview show. This is my last Zoom with Czarny before the election on Tuesday, and I'll probably take about a month off of Zoom with Czarny's as we're getting the election results. I'm happy to bring to you a great interview with the bluest town in Onondaga County, the Dewitt Democratic Committee, and their candidates. Their full slate of candidates. It's DeWitt and Manlius are the two towns where the entire town government is Democratic, or at least the entire town board and supervisor. I think there's a clerk and highway superintendent in Manlius and a highway superintendent in DeWitt that are Republican. But so DeWitt has been the bluest, most Democratic town for quite some time. And I think they're a great field of candidates to kind of learn from and see how how they won and how they continue to win in kind of a purple county, but this blue town has punched above their weight. So stay tuned for that interview. As I said, I will probably not do another Zoom with Czarny until December. Early voting is ongoing. Today is day 7 of early voting. If you're watching this in the morning, it's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. today, 9 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. Big crowds for early voting for a local election. Not big crowds, but solid crowds, and higher than it was in 2021 and 2019, which is really how we need to look at this to determine success. So these local years are growing each and every year, getting bigger and bigger. This is a good thing. So go out and vote in this local election. Absentee ballots are still available if you come in person at the Board of Election. It will be open from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Today, and 9 to 5 Saturday and Sunday, and 8:30 to 4:30 on Monday for you to come in and pick up an absentee ballot in person. And of course, election day is Tuesday, 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Go to onvote.net. You can get all of that information. And I hope to see you around. All right. Well, stay tuned for my interview with the DeWitt Democrats. Bye-bye. And we're back. And I'm very happy to have my good friends in the DeWitt Democratic Committee. DeWitt is a very blue town, and almost every elected office is held by a Democrat, and so many of them are actually running for re-election. It's the most Democratic town in Onondaga County, and I'm happy to have on the program with me today Ed Menkelenko, the current supervisor of DeWitt, running for re-election, Jack Dooling, who is on the DeWitt Town Board, Pastor Bernard Alex, who is running to represent on the town board, and our good friend Linda Irvin, who is now the town of DeWitt Democratic Chair. Thank you all for coming on Zoom with Czarny.
Glad to be here.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, there's a lot of you, and that's actually a rarity in town politics in Onondaga County. So many people running for re-election in a town. So I'm going to start, but there may be some people that don't know you because it is a local election year. A lot of first-time voters, they may not know who you are. So I'm going to just ask you to tell me a little bit about yourself and your background, and we'll start with you, Supervisor Menkelenko. Tell me a little bit about Ed.
I'm born and raised in DeWitt, New York. I grew up in East Syracuse, went to ESM School District, graduate of Cortland State, became a high school biology and chemistry teacher out of college, went back to school for my master's at ESF, and grew up in an area surrounded by industry and always was a sentimental environmentalist. And I ended up going on for a PhD, graduated from ESF in 91 and became an environmentalist. I run the Onondaga Environmental Institute, which is a not-for-profit. It's been centered on the Onondaga Lake watershed for over 30 years, and I take pleasure in saying that I have worked on the cleanup of Onondaga Lake for over 30 years, including my doctoral research. And I have a wife who's the hospital-based school teacher that I'm very proud of. She's the closest thing to a one-room schoolhouse in today's world. Works with all sorts of patients in the Golisano's Children's Center. Have 4 children who are 3 of them are married, and most of them are tied to the teaching profession. And I have 6 grandchildren, and I am extremely fortunate that they are all local.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Jack, tell us a little bit about Jack Dooling.
Yeah, I'm Jack Dooling. I was born and raised in Eastwood, beautiful downtown Eastwood. And when I was 20 years old, I moved to East Syracuse, Park Hill area. And I have 4 boys. My wife is a extremely hard worker. She was a dental assistant for Dr. Ray Maver in DeWitt. And she is now a volunteer for town of DeWitt, where she does the flowers at the big sign in DeWitt on the corner of Erie Boulevard and Genesee Street. And she also does the flowers at Carrier Park for us. We have 9 grandchildren, unfortunately 5 in North Carolina, but we have 4 here. So we're very fortunate enough to have 4 here. And the North Carolinians, we just went down and babysat for them for 6 weeks. For 6 days, excuse me, 6 weeks would have killed
6 weeks.
6 days. 6 days was tiring enough. So we really enjoyed being with those guys down there, and they're coming up next week to see us also. So I went to work at Kraus Heinz for 37 years. I was in purchasing. Towards the end of my career, I was spending about $18 million a year for Kraus Heinz, in charge of purchasing there. And I was offered a job to go with Kraus Heinz when they were bought out by Cooper Industries to Mississippi to be in charge of, for the lighting products division, be in charge of their purchasing department. At the time, I had 3 boys. My older boys were all playing football, baseball, basketball, and lacrosse at ESM. I said, no way, no thanks. I ain't going anywhere. So I stayed, ended up at GE for 1 year. And then the vice president of purchasing called me back and said, so-and-so retired. You want to come back? I said, I'll be there at 6 tomorrow morning. He said, no, 8 o'clock's good. So that's how I got back at Kraus Heinz. And then when I retired from Kraus Heinz, lo and behold, they had no medical insurance. So I had this guy named Michael Enko come to me and say, hey, coach, how about running for office in the town of DeWitt? I said, I got a little problem, Eddie. He said, what's that? I said, my wife's a Republican. He said, I'll take care of that. Don't worry about it. So Pam is now a Democrat. And what I'm most proud of in helping at DeWitt is a couple of things. The senior income limits was just passed by the state, and the town just passed it in their last meeting, where we raised the income limits from 37,000 to 58,000, which is going to get a lot of seniors, a lot of extra seniors, some money that they deserve. I also am on the police commission, which is very rewarding because we got all kinds of police things going on in DeWitt with all the hotels over here. And we work with a great police chief who, thank God, is in Syracuse. I had an awful time thinking that he was in Israel because he was supposed to go there next week for a police class, which obviously has been canceled. We're very happy about that. And I'll see him Thursday morning at the police commission. Pardon me?
Yeah, that's awesome. We're going to get into all of those accomplishments and do it in just a second. But I want to go over to Pastor Bernard Alex. Pastor, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, my name is Bernard Alex, H. Bernard Alex. I too am from Syracuse. I grew up really on the south side in the Valley area. My great memory is Enrico's, just smelling Enrico's pizza and lasagna coming from St. Anthony's, and basketball walking down the street. That's just the memory of the South Side, Enrico's. And I went away to college. Well, even before that, went to parochial school, went to St. Anthony's, and graduated from Bishop Grimes.
Hey, Syracuse.
Bishop Grimes, and I then went on to undergraduate school at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, which gives me great pride and joy to know that I was able to walk the avenue, sit in classrooms that were built by former slaves, people that were told what they could not be, but they were able to do it. With Booker T. Washington, and going to the George Washington Carver Museum and all of the brilliant things that he did with little to nothing, from peanuts to sweet potatoes, and his innovation, agriculture, just knowing that the anvil and the book can work together, working the land and the industry together is the way that a country grows. So I hold dear homecoming coming up, so near and dear to Tuskegee. My wife and I have been in DeWitt, living in DeWitt for 30 plus years, married 37 years, 4 children, 1 grandson who is enough. He is in the ESM school district, was in JD, and now my daughter moved there to East Syracuse. So just appreciate being here in the eastern part of our county, what it offers, its accessibility, and just I really appreciate the town of DeWitt and what it offers its residents.
That's amazing. So Jack and Ed, you are running for re-election, and Dr. Alex, you are running for election for the first time. So I kind of want you to talk about why. It's hard to run for public office. You're not getting rich. You're not getting famous. It's a lot of work. So why are you putting yourself forward? And also, thank you for doing that. But we'll start with you, Jack. Why are you running for re-election for the town board?
I'm running for re-election because I think I can continue to help the town of DeWitt. And we have a very important project starting up hopefully on January 1st, which I'm pretty sure it's called the hotel tax, which I started out in 2018 with Pam Hunter. And then we didn't get anywhere because it did pass the assembly thanks to Pam Hunter, but then it got dumped out by the Republicans in the Senate. But this year it passed with Pam Hunter and with John Mannion in the Senate. And I want to help make that program move right along because it can make us over $1 million a year because of our approximately 30 hotels. And the hotel tax that we have will help us at Carrier Park. It's going to help us with the infrastructure around Carrier Circle, hopefully putting in some sidewalks and some benches and things where people can walk around to the restaurants and to the park and things like that. The other projects that I'm going to be working on is working with Altamont program over on Carrier Circle next to Joya's Restaurant. We have a veterans building that where we have recovering alcoholic and drug addicted people who we opened that up last year. I was instrumental in getting that approved to get it opened up, and I've been going over there and helping them get rounding up clothes for them. Last week I took over a whole bunch of stuff from the VFW in Baldwinsville because a friend of mine was working there, volunteering there, and they closed that branch up, so they brought all the clothes over to the people at Altamont, which is a Father Young was the name of the priest, Catholic priest that started the program. The other things that I'm looking forward to working on is housing in the town of DeWitt. We've got like 14 houses in the town of DeWitt that are on the New York State haven't paid their taxes in 3 years list, and we were supposed to have an auction last week on October 3rd, and the state and the county canceled that, and that's a big problem for us. So I'm working with our lawyer on that, Matt Natoli, see if there's any other way we can get some of these houses taken care of, get fixed up, or get sold, because that's a real eyesore. And we have some beautiful land over near where Burned Dairy is that has got problems with the land over there. So that's some of the things we want to do.
That's awesome. Yeah. And by the way, being an infamous Uber driver around Syracuse, the people definitely need those sidewalks over on Carrier Circle. People who are visiting us want to walk around to see the things that are in the area, and it's really hard for pedestrians out there. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. Dr. Alex, you're running for the first time. Why jump into the fray? I believe this is your first run for public office as well, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, not exactly.
Well, no, I was about to say, I did run school board for Janesville DeWitt School Board. And that leads
Oops.
me into why I want to be in public. Has strong families, has strong family connection, education, and to build on that, to build on a community that is inclusive and engaging of all people. My background too is not just in pastoral work, but in undergraduate school and after undergraduate school. When I came to Syracuse, I worked for Stevens Office Interiors, and I too was in purchasing and looking at the most efficient and cost-effective way to operate business. Sometimes has to, the more eyes, the more insight, the more skill sets can bring the greater benefit to that business and or to that community. So I come with varied skills. My faith, yes, but my skill sets in professional work, in education, in community engagement, community organizing, and being able to connect with all people. One of the great things that I think that happened is being able to grow up in a community, but also having gone to parochial school, having gone to Bishop Grimes, living in DeWitt, having an intersectionality with people. My relationship professionally, also working with Pam Hunter. Pam and I worked together for a number of years when we were at the Syracuse Community Health Center. She was in marketing and in HR, and I was over client and it was called place of choice direction, that just to satisfy people, hearing their complaints, hearing what was wrong, and figuring out the best way to get them not only quality health care, but also to get them to speak well of their experience. So I want to be that person that will listen, hear, assess, look at, and see how the town of DeWitt is engaging and incorporating the skill sets of the entirety of the board, as well as the entirety of a community of people, that we are the place that people will look to and say, you know what, that's a town, and that is what it's supposed to look like.
And Supervisor Mikalenko, I remember when you were the only Democratic supervisor in Onondaga County. You got a John Deere right next to you in Manlius now, but you're running for re-election. And why have you decided to step one more time into the fray?
Well, there's a lot of things that we've begun that are still yet to complete. And I actually remember when I was the lone Democrat on the town board at one time too. But I've somewhat become known as a progressive, sustainable and environmental supervisor. There is a number of environmental issues that I continue to push and want to finish. We are one of the only municipalities that is totally free of fossil fuels for its electric consumption, but we built a 50 kilowatt solar array on our town hall. We have a 2.6 megawatt solar farm on our former landfill. We power all our buildings, all our street lights, all our facilities, such as sewer pumps and water pumps, with the electricity from those solar arrays. We have a sustainability policy, a climate action plan. We're currently engaged in a project that I want to see through, because there are no electric vehicles that can push snow or move heavy equipment. And so we have a pilot project where we're looking to separate water into oxygen and hydrogen using excess electricity from our solar farm, and then push the hydrogen back into vehicles such as snow plows. But hydrogen actually combusts to produce the water, so there's no negative impact from combustion, and it's more powerful than diesel. So we have a number of parks and trails that we want to complete. Jack has already mentioned Carrier Park and the infill that we'd like to see around the hotel districts through infrastructure such as sidewalks and streetlights. there's a number of projects I want to try on the social side, but we've looked at material recycling, and we'd like to be able to maybe site a MRF, whether that's private or public, or a partnership between the two. But we think there's a lot of good housing stock, and we'd like to see living wage. This is offered for low socioeconomic groups. I've been talking to the judges and the police chief, because one of the big problems in our society today is youth crime that goes basically through the system and then throws the children back out on the streets with minimal or minor consequences. And so we'd like to maybe pilot a program where kids come out of our court system and that have committed crimes locally, that would come back and provide community service. But in that community service would be extra training to allow those students to advance in their, hopefully their careers, and straighten out their lives. And so there's a number of fronts that we, both socially, economically. DeWitt is 40% of Onondaga County's industrial lands. And there's a number of brownfields and factories that are sitting idle, and properties that are distressed. And we've done a decent job in trying to fill them. There's a lot of high-tech industry like Infocom, Cryromec, Feldmeyer, and Burned Dairy that have occupied some of those spaces. But we're continuing to recruit and promote businesses that also, again, provide jobs and a future. So again, we like to tout that DeWitt is a place where you can live, worship, work, play, and and shop, all in your backyard.
Yeah, I mean, I live right on the border with DeWitt, but it's a wonderful community. I spent a lot of time in Shopping Town, and I know the lots of work that's going into making that a new facility. I'm going to take a little break away from the candidates. I want to talk to Linda, the Town of DeWitt Democratic Chair. Linda, you're taking over as the Town of DeWitt Democratic Chair because the previous chair, Max Ruckteschell, is now our chair of the county party, and you are retiring as a longtime county legislator this year. What are you hoping that people know about your DeWitt Democratic candidates, and what are you doing to help continue to keep DeWitt the bluest town in Onondaga County?
Well, I hope that people will know that the candidates are all certainly equipped for the job that they're running for. We have some really talented people running this year, those who are running for re-election, as well as the newbies. Bernard mentioned that he's running again in this position, mainly because I convinced him that he's needed. We need him on the town board. And he has all the skill sets that we need to make that job done the right way. And he's lived in DeWitt long enough to know what people in DeWitt need and what they want. And he has coming from a different cultural background. He has a different approach to things because he knows what other folks will want. And we need a diverse board. We haven't had one in forever, it seems like, and now's the time to do it. And so I convinced him that he should run, and I'm behind him all the way, as well as all the other candidates. We have a judge candidate who is new, and Ian is doing a great job. And he came in, excited about it, and he's still excited. The thing about running for office and serving in office is that you tend to get a little bit disenchanted after a while. And I don't want them to get to that point. I want them to be excited about the jobs they're running for. And I want folks to know that they are excited and that they will do the job. This town is a great town to live in. I've lived in this town for over 46 years now. And
You're too young.
I've served in office, the school board for 12, and now the county ledge for 14. I've been on the Democratic committee for almost all of those years as well. So I want to make sure that all the candidates have the resources that they need to win. I want to make sure they have the advice that I think I can offer, as well as some others can offer, to win. And I want to make sure that they get the exposure that they need to win. And that's my job.
That's amazing. Yes. And you've been an incredible advocate in your time, and I know you'll continue to be an advocate in this different role that you're going to be taking on for the next few years. So we're going to get back to the candidates now. Dr. Bernard, if you are when you are elected this
Yeah,
November,
not if, when.
not if, when you are elected this November, and then we'll go to Jack and Ed as well. What are you hoping to focus on in your first term in office?
Well, my first term in office most definitely is to listen, to learn, and to engage. I want to hear, I want to see, and bring my views, my thoughts to what is already in process, and then to engage. Engage meaning bring the views, the thoughts of those persons within our town who perhaps have not been engaged in town government for whatever the reason. I want to be that person that people know that I am accessible. I know that my colleagues most definitely are. They are all engaged and have a great sphere of influence and engagement. But I also want to enhance that circle so that the stronger and the more interconnected we are, the better the town can serve every resident that lives within its borders. We are, as you stated, strategically placed in a very unique posture at this time with what's going on up the way in 481 to 81, with Micron, and ensuring that our green spaces and our all of the things that we here in DeWitt, sometimes myself included, take for granted or maintain, but at the same time being engaged in an advancing of what's going on here in Central New York. One thing that I really would like to see is to just engage, as I heard Ed mention, those young people. There's a lot of green space, and I look at green space as an opportunity to grow and get our young people engaged perhaps in agriculture and in growing and in sustainability. Nothing wrong with engaging and enjoying the fruit of your labor. There's a lot that can be done that can, when people make an investment in their space, it gives a sense of pride and a sense of I belong. And so I just want people to know that. And that's what I want to do. I want to listen, I want to learn, and I want to engage.
Can I interrupt a second?
Absolutely.
One of the things that Bernard didn't mention is that he's been on the police commission for a while now, and he has a sense of what needs to happen with the crime in the town of DeWitt. And I know he's going to concentrate on that as well. He's got to be more outgoing about who he is, more so than being humble about himself. He got to speak up and say what he's done, and he's done. And I want him to continue to do those things.
Okay, and so since Linda goaded me on my engagement with the police commission for the years that I've been on the commission, and working with Chase, he is the chief Balladue is a phenomenal chief, as was his predecessors. I find, being a younger man, looks at things and is looking to keep our department operating with 21st century policing at its best. And that means that we need to look at everything, look at how police engage with all citizenry, how the involvement of the police needs to be looked at in a fiscal way, as well as in a policy and operational way. So what I've been engaged in, not only in the city of Syracuse, but throughout New York State and on the Eastern Seaboard, is giving me opportunity to come back. And even at times where I've spoken with Chase and said, you know what, man, this is the way that I think you need to do it. Put the information out there. Even in some real tight situations, I'm like, man, you need to put it out, let it be seen. Because the sooner you get ahead of the narrative, the better. That you need to be ahead of it If not, it'll create its own momentum and it'll be very detrimental. By those kinds of conversations, a lot of things that could have been very detrimental and hurtful and harmful to the town of DeWitt police were abated. They were squashed. We were able to handle them and handle them well. And the rapport and the building of a police department that is diverse in all regards, with women, with men, with Eastern Europeans, with all of the people, African Americans that live within the town of DeWitt, it gives the town of DeWitt a step and showing other areas, this is the way that you do it. This is the way policing and community can be done, and it does not have to be adversarial. Tell people all the time, I couldn't imagine living in a community that didn't have police. Not me. No, I want everyone to do their job, do it well,
Right.
do it accountable. I close with this. I was telling a friend, when Lois Lane fell off the building, young people may not know who that is, but when she fell off the building and Superman caught her and he's like, relax, I got you. And she said, yeah, well, who has you? That's the way that I look at police. Yeah, police, I got you. Yeah, but who's watching you? It is always about everyone doing what needs to be done to secure, but also being transparent and authentic in what's going on.
That's amazing. It's great. Thank you, Linda. That's great background. Since you're introducing yourself to the community for the first time, not to the community the first time, you've been out in the community, but to the voters for the first time,
Right.
or to the DeWitt voters, anyways. Supervisor Mankolenko, if you win, you are elected to your next term. What are you planning on focusing on?
Well, there's a number of things that I've already alluded to, but one that I have not mentioned is the reconstruction of our water system. But the town of DeWitt prides itself in having its own water system, just like we prided ourselves in our police commission. I'm going to jump back just for a moment, but because what people don't realize is we are a blue town and we've been a blue town. But when I first became supervisor, I was in the minority party for 10 years. And I've been supervisor for 16 years. So we've only recently become a majority party representing the town of DeWitt. And so some of my accomplishments were in working with the other party, because we did, to my recollection, the only police commission in a township that is representative of the public. And so clergy like Reverend Alex and we have defense attorneys on the board and social workers, along with policemen and prosecutors. But the whole spectrum of our society is represented in that police commission and provides oversight to our police department. Coming back to our water department, we purchase our water from the Onondaga County Water Authority and the city of Syracuse. And we pride ourselves in that we deliver that water at a lower cost than we purchase it. Then the purchasers that which we buy from sell to their residents. So, but we're in the process right now of upgrading all our water tanks, our pumps and delivery systems. We're putting in a modern computerized system so that we can monitor the delivery of that water. We're upgrading our hydrants and our meters and all our valves. And so we're investing a $5 million bond into our water system. And I want to see that through so that when I leave, I know the water system in the town of DeWitt is good for the next 20, 30 years. So that's one of my coming out of the gate projects. We also have, again, the Carrier Park project, but the trail system. Widewaters Pond sits and has been serving as a drainage ditch for Erie Boulevard and the surrounding neighborhoods. And we want to turn that into a public space and a park. We have the Erie Canal Trail, which we were instrumental in pushing through on a regional scale. And we want to connect all our neighborhoods into that trail system. So the trail runs east-west through the town, but our town is oriented north-south. And so we're looking get our neighborhoods integrated and connected into that. And then all the other things that you heard, from infrastructure around the hotel to social issues. The inland port is a issue that we're working on right now, and we would like to see that through. But we'd like direct connection of the rail yards to the highway system. 481 is going to convert to 81, and in that process, we're pushing and acting, asking the state to provide a direct connection from the highway. Currently, there's 750 trucks a day that come out of the rail yards and run through town of Manlius and the town of DeWitt neighborhoods and past 3 schools, an elementary, a middle, and a high school. And we like to see that truck traffic out of the neighborhoods and off the secondary streets. The highway is there, it runs over to rail yards. A direct connection is only common sense. So those are 3 of the many items that I'd like to jump on as soon as 2024 comes to us.
I love having these conversations with local elected officials who know their communities so well. I had no idea that many trucks were coming in and out of DeWitt. That's a, you know, these are the kind of pieces of information that are vital to hear about. Jack, if
That's just the rail
here.
I just
yeah,
wanted
see,
to,
oh hey, yeah, I'll get Carrie right after you, Jack.
The late
But
Carrie
Jack,
Mannion just checked in.
yeah, hey Carrie, how are you? We're gonna get to you in a second. But Jack, why don't we talk to you? You tell me about if you're able to win re-election, when you are. What are you hoping to focus on in the
What do you
next
mean?
term?
What do you mean by if? I got
Win,
6,183 votes last year,
Yeah,
according to the Eagle Bulletin, the most of anybody that's ever run for a town board in the history of town of DeWitt. So what do you mean if? When?
win.
He said
When
when.
I win. I'm going to be currently serving on the police commission. I'm chairman of the procurement committee, a member of the budget committee, the water committee, the insurance committee, Carrier Park, Carrier Park committee, and I'm a liaison for the Village of East Syracuse. I want to work with the Village of East Syracuse more than usual because they have a lot of different obstacles over there in the village, and we want to get working with them. We're working with them now in the recreation department because we have a bus that I bought 4 or 5 years ago for like $12,000. Excuse me, we were spending $12,000 on rental for buses, and I bought from FM. I bought a used bus that we spent for $4,000. We saved about $8,000 by having our own bus, and we're able to let the Village of East Syracuse use that also. And also, we've got a building over here in Franklin Park where I live, where the DeWitt Community Room is, and it's attached to the fire department, Firehouse 2 for East Syracuse. We're going to be working with those folks to make sure that that everything is running properly over there. Right now, we're working on an alarm system for there because in recent past week, the alarm system was not working. Yesterday, I resolved that, and I've got the alarm system company coming in to fix it this week, at the end of this week. Regarding the purchasing committee, we look at the projects. We work very closely with Doug Miller, who's our town engineer. He makes up the specifications as the engineer, sends them out for bid. I work with Doug closely because I want to give him vendors that I know from my days at Crouse-Hinds who are qualified to work on the various and sundry projects. Like, for instance, in Jamesville, we had a big project where we knocked down the old Marco's restaurant that happened last month. And there was a house 2 doors from it that was also knocked down. And that's clearing out areas on North Street in the hamlet of Jamesville. And in addition to that, I worked on the Andrews Road Bridge earlier in my career, and I was able to work with Senator John DeFrancisco at the time. So we were able to put the Democrats and Republicans together to get something done. And what we agreed to do was when he said to me, "Okay, Mr. DeWitt, what are you going to do for this thing?" Because I've got $40,000 coming from National Grid. I got $40,000 coming from New York State. What are you going to do to help us out? I said, well, we're going to take ownership of the bridge, and we're going to check it every year, and we're going to have the preventive maintenance people look at it. We have a highway department engineer that works with us. Rocco Conti is a very good highway person, and he's going to inspect it every year, which I make sure that he does that to ensure that the bridge is in tip-top shape, and it should be good for at least 20 years is what we're told. So those are some of the things that I plan on working on. I'm looking forward to being reelected and starting in again on January 1st, working for the town of DeWitt. Thank you.
Thank you. And we are joined by Carrie Mannion, who's also running for reelection for the town of DeWitt. Carrie, we're kind of coming in on the end of this. If I could ask you to unmute and talk to us a little bit about the time you've had on the DeWitt Town Board and why you're running for reelection.
Am I up?
You're up.
Yep.
All right, I'm driving, so I'm gonna have to talk and drive here, guys.
Oh my
Oh
God.
no.
Uh-oh.
That's kind of my shtick here, Carrie. But we'll let you do that.
We'll call the police.
Well, Ed and I ran together in 2007 and got elected in 2008, and I have been on the board since then. So we're finishing up about our 16th year here together. We've done a lot. I've been deputy supervisor that whole time. We've consistently kept the budget under the 2% tax cap, but for last year was the first year that we had to override just too many COVID overhangs to keep the budget under control. But this year we've presented a budget that keeps our tax levy exactly the same as it was last year, and I think we're going to be able to maintain that through the budget process. I'm on the board with the budget committee with Jack. Jack's a great budget committee member. We've got another 3 or 4 other people, 2 or 3 employees, and Jack and I as board members along with Max. And we really analyze and take a close look at that budget every year to make sure that we're treating our taxpayers fairly. And this year is going to be a really good year. I hear a lot of towns are breaking the tax cap this year, and we are going to be in really good shape. Along with Jack, we really pushed the room occupancy tax to help us continue to develop the Carrier Fields, the Challenger Park, and that's been very successful. And thanks to many good Democrats, we were able to finally get that through after how many years, Jack? 6 years of trying?
Yep, 2018 it started.
Yep. So 5-6 years, and we just kept at it. And this year it all came together, which was excellent. As deputy supervisor, I help Ed out quite a bit on a lot of things he works on. I try to take some of the bigger items, such as, 3 or 4 years ago, our legal fees were getting really out of control, and we put together a team that includes my brother Terry, along with hiring Matt Natoli, but we've cut our legal fees by well over 50%, couple $100,000 a year in savings. We ran into a health insurance issue a few years back where we were getting high premiums, and we were self-insured at the time and digging a big hole. And I was able to work with all the unions productively and for their benefit, saving the town on an annual basis last year when we put this into place. This year is when it was implemented, but saves the town $500,000 to $600,000 a year. It was cheaper for the employees, and it's through the first 9 months, it's been great. Everybody's happy with it, and we're going to again save this year probably another $500,000 this year, and going forward it'll continue to save us money. So other than that, I've been worked with Ed on a couple of our green projects early on. We got the solar panels on the roof of town hall. Ed really spearheaded the effort to get the solar panels, spent years. The solar array up on the old landfill, which is working out fabulously. It's I think we're the only municipality that has that much solar power available to our municipality, where we're just about net zero for our town energy consumption. what else? A lot of green initiatives, a lot of tree initiatives. So we've, I think I've been a pretty good friend of the employees. Where we're the last couple of years, we've really tried to increase as inflation has gone up. We've really tried to increase the wages for many of our union members, and it's been successful, and we've been able to do it while also balancing our budget. And we're working on a project now at the same time to try to get our union members a little bit more money, just because of the way the economy has gone and the way prices have gone up, so they can at least keep even and get a little bit ahead. Running again to try to help continue and finish off Challenger Park. We're really close. And again, I really enjoy working for the town. I'm also the liaison to our planning board. We always have a ton of issues with development in the town of DeWitt. And I've always been a 24-hour phone to call if people have problems, issues. They want to do something productive in the town of DeWitt. And I'm usually able to meet with our planning department and our planning board and work out compromises that work out to the benefit of the businesses, as well as our strong residential neighborhoods in the town of DeWitt, where it's always encroachment from business into residential neighborhoods. But our residential neighborhoods in the town of DeWitt have stayed very strong, and they're only getting stronger, as can be seen by the value of the housing stock in the town of DeWitt. It's a great place with the two public high schools we have, East Syracuse Manoa and Jamesville DeWitt. People want to send their kids to those two schools, so the town of DeWitt is a benefactor of those two very high-rated high schools. So
Yeah,
I'll stop talking on that. Justin, any questions for me?
Well, I think we're kind of coming to the end of the podcast. So I'm going to finish with my final question, which I'm going to limit you guys to 30 seconds to 1 minute answer. And it's, what haven't we talked about? And I think what would be good, because we've talked about so much, tell me something a little bit about yourself, like something that, a little factor that maybe people don't know about you that you haven't talked about on the podcast. Dr. Bernard, we'll start with you. What's something about you that maybe you haven't talked about that people might want to know for this last minute?
I am a classically trained vocalist.
Wow.
And I will be singing with Symphonia, with Syracuse Opera during the holiday season, and that is my decompression in my release.
All right. Supervisor Menkelenko, what about you?
Well, I mentioned the environment's my passion, and some of the things that I've worked on over the years. My Onondaga Environmental Institute is the corporate sponsor of the Onondaga Earth Corps. We were the sponsors for the Partnership for Onondaga Creek. I did the scientific analysis that was supported by a lot of the activist groups that changed the county's program from regional treatment facilities to green infrastructure. And so we've had a presence throughout the Onondaga Lake watershed and through the Onondaga Creek watershed. I work very closely with Joe Heath and representatives of the Onondaga Nation. I'm very proud of that mix of the inner city youth that we put together with the Onondaga Nation youth groups. And so I close with I have two jobs that I love. I tell people all the time I have two full-time jobs and a family, but I thoroughly enjoy my day job as much as I enjoy the supervisor's role, and so I will continue along both for the foreseeable future.
Amazing. Jack, what's something quickly? What is something you want people to know about you?
I want them to know about me is that I was a great basketball coach, and I'm with Bernard. I'm a parochial leaguer. Bernard's at St. Anthony's. I'm at St. John the Evangelist. We never lost to St. Anthony's in our life, Bernard. And I also got to coach. I also got to coach a guy by the name of Ed Michael.
Yeah, but our building is still up.
It is, but it was the worst gym in the parochial league, Bernard.
But
That's why we were at North High. Anyway,
But
Ed
it's still there.
Michaelenko was one of my best players, and he got the MVP award at Blessed Sacrament when he had long hair and a ponytail. When I wanted to talk to him, I'd grab him by the ponytail and say, "Come here, Ed."
Carrie, what's one last thing you want voters to know about you?
Let's see. There's a lot of things. I'm a father of 6 children. Blessed, and over the years, I've spent many, many hours coaching their teams and hanging with them and getting to know the friends and be a mentor to well their friends. I think I've done a lot.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit on us, Gary. So,
And the oldest is 33. I stay in touch with them, with their friends, and again, just try to be a role model for all of them as well as everybody else in the town of DeWitt.
amazing. And Linda, I'm
He
going to
does.
close
Can I
with
say
you.
he's a great neighbor.
And Linda, I'm going to close with you. Why should people vote in local elections?
Oh my God, because local officials impact your life more than any others. People tend to think that voting for the president is more important. No, no, no. Voting for local elections is more important. Your school taxes, your local taxes, all the services you need on the local level are more important than voting for the president and the governor. And I've told folks that when I ran for office many, many times before, they'll say, I don't vote for this election. Well, you really need to, because when you get your bills for your taxes, that's when you'll realize that you should have been voting.
Well, that's amazing. That's all the time we got. It's been a great, wonderful, long podcast. So much going on in DeWitt. Early voting is going on right now at the town of DeWitt Town Hall when this podcast is airing. So go on down there. The town of DeWitt has been an incredible partner with the Board of Elections since we started early voting in 2019. And they have always been welcoming. So I want to thank all of you for that. And I hope that continues in the future, because it's a vital spot, one of the most busy spots for early voting in Onondaga County. And because of the residents of DeWitt and east of Syracuse and even Manlius coming in and using your facility. And that is amazing. So go out and vote. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you all for running and coming on this podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yep.
And now I want to bring you a special little video from Ian Rennie, who's running for DeWitt Town Justice. He wasn't able to make the Zoom call, but when I recorded this episode, but I think it's important for you to hear from all of our candidates. So please listen to this interview.
My name's Ian Rennie, and I'm running for DeWitt Town Justice this fall. To introduce myself, after graduating from Syracuse Law School, I opened a law practice in downtown Syracuse, where I've been operating for the past 13 years. I focus almost entirely on criminal law work, which, not coincidentally, is the primary field of law that a town justice will be focusing on. So I certainly believe I have the experience to be able to very quickly assimilate and handle the types of cases seen in a court like DeWitt, which is a particularly large town court and a particularly busy one, both due to its population and its proximity to the city border. Additionally, I've been on the board of directors for the Assigned Counsel program for the past 6 years. This is the organization that helps make sure that the indigent, our poor population of Onondaga County is properly represented by attorneys. Additionally, I am a professor of legal studies at the business school at Syracuse. I've done that for about 2 years now. Something I take a ton of pride in. I really enjoy sharing my passion and interest in the law with the future leaders of this country and certainly beyond at SU. We've got a lot of international students the first few classes are essentially a rundown of what we do in civics class in our American curriculum. So we start with that, and then from there we get more and more advanced, and by the end of the semester we get into some pretty complex legal topics. So that's been a more recent addition to my career, which I've really taken a lot of interest in. I have basically no experience in the political sphere, so when I decided to run for office, it was quite a new experience. I have enjoyed it immensely. I've had a ton of support from other candidates and people who have run before, people who are working behind the scenes on all these campaigns. It's been incredibly rewarding, but without that help, it'd be a very difficult process. So we're out there almost every day introducing ourselves to the people of DeWitt. I've certainly found that individual contact in person seems to be the most productive means of doing that, and I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to know all the people that we have, all the different groups of people, and it's a very diverse community, DeWitt. We've got a lot of different demographics, and it's been great getting to know all of them. So that's my brief introduction. I appreciate the time to do so, and thank you very much.
And thank you so much for the DeWitt Democrats for joining me today, and Ian Rennie, who's running for DeWitt Town Justice. Please go take a look at them. As I said, this will be my last Zoom with Czarny before the election. I planned on doing a weekly walk this weekend, which will kind of show Onondaga County where we are going into Election Day. That'll be up on Sunday. And then I'll be doing a lot of commissioner in cars. I'll do one Monday night, which is my election preview. And then I'll start doing ones on Tuesday and Thursday after Election Day to kind of just give you an update of how the election is progressing, you know, if there's any close races, what the process is, and then hopefully back to my regular schedule of one commissioner in car, one Zoom with Czarny each week, starting, is after Thanksgiving. So thank you very much. Please go out and vote. There's so much work that goes into all of these elections, and it's my honor to be your elections commissioner, one of them anyways, in Onondaga County, and it's my honor to do these programs with so many people that are just trying to serve our community. So please go out and honor them and honor yourself as a citizen of this country, of this county, to go out and vote. You owe it to yourself to choose the leadership that you feel will benefit you the most. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.